Pardon. Evet, herkese günaydın değerli misafirler. Marmara Uluslararası Kent Forumu'nun son günündeyiz. Bu yıl üçüncüsü yapılıyor malumunuz olduğu üzere. Marmara Uluslararası Kent Forumu'nun oldukça yoğun bir 2 gün yaşadık yine. Bugün tabii son oturum biraz ne diyelim sabah saatleri biraz daha sakin oluyor ama birazdan tekrar canlanacağını zannediyorum. Bugün yine çok güzel bir oturumla karşınızdayız. Çok kıymetli 3 tane rektörümüz ile birlikte üniversitelerle yerel yönetimler ve belediyeler, tabii yanı sıra kentsel sektörler arasındaki ilişkiler, işbirlikleri, bunların potansiyelleri üzerine konuşacağız. Maalesef sabah Mimar Sinan Güzel Sanatlar Üniversitesi rektörümüz Sayın Handan İnci'nin bir ne diyelim işi çıkmış ve katılamadı aramıza. Ama 3 hocamızla birlikte bu etkinliği yürüteceğiz. Ben öncelikle 3 kıymetli rektörümüze tekrar teşrif ettikleri için şükranlarımı sunmak istiyorum. Çok teşekkür ederiz katılımlarınız için. Tabii Marmara bölgesinde çok sayıda üniversite var. Olağanüstü bir potansiyeli var Marmara bölgesinin. Aşağı yukarı İstanbul'da 70'e yakın, Marmara'da 90'a yakın üniversite var. Türkiye'nin neredeyse bütün bilgi havuzu diyelim Ankara ve İstanbul odaklı ne diyelim konsantre olmuş durumda ve burada Marmara bölgesinin açık ara bir şeyi var, egemenliği diyelim İstanbul'da ve Marmara bölgesinde. Tabii Marmara Belediyeler Birliği de Marmara bölgesindeki üniversitelerle ne diyelim yerel yönetim kurumları, kuruluşları, sektörleri arasında bir takım işbirlikleri için neler yapabiliriz diye bir oturum planlama düşüncesini attı ortaya. Şimdi bugün iki devlet, bir vakıf üniversitemizin iki kıymetli rektörüyle, 3 kıymetli rektörüyle bu konuları konuşacağız. Tabii Kocaeli ve Sakarya Üniversitesi tarihleri biraz daha eskiye giden fakülteler itibariyle ama resmi kuruluşları 1992 olduğunu zannediyorum olan ve şu anda da bölüne bölüne büyümeye devam eden olağanüstü büyük
universities are two big universities, and they still continue to grow by expanding further. They are the largest universities, with the Sparta University following them as the third. Kadir Has University is the first foundation university and the only one on the historic peninsula as a foundation university. So, given the cultural life of Istanbul, Kadir Has University is a very, very important one. We're going to listen to the views and the perspectives of these three universities' rectors. I'm not going to keep it too long. I'm going to give the floor mostly to the rectors. I will do my best to speak minimum. Each and every rector will have the floor for 15 minutes, and then we will open the Q&A session. I'll do my best to moderate it. I'll give the floor first to Professor Zafer, Cantürk, Director of Kocaeli University. Distinguished professors and participants, I greet you all with respect. On behalf of Kocaeli University. I'm very happy to be here with you, and thank you for inviting us here. I'd like to thank the organizing committee and Tahir Büyükakın, the president of Marmara Municipalities Union. He's also a member of our university, by the way. It's great to be here. So when we look at the definition of MARUF, the definition says the effort to try to find solutions for the problems of a city with all relevant stakeholders. On the first day, when we had the opening, Professor Tahir talked about learning organizations, and that holds true for MARUF as well. We are teaching systems and at the same time learning systems. So universities have important missions of both teaching and learning, and this could only be possible through interaction with cities, with stakeholders. MARUF aims to know-how and experience between all stakeholders, including public and private sector, NGOs, universities, local administrations, and aims to take into account different perspectives, know-how, and experience. So all of these overlap with the basic functions of universities. Universities try to produce scientific knowledge, and universities today do their best to get the best contribution from the society. The purpose set for MARUF hold true also for the universities. While universities produce information and knowledge for cities, and universities at the same time train staff, train students for the future life to take part in urban life. The greatest mission of universities is to teach and learn, but it is a teaching system and at the same time a learning system. So this interaction could yield successful results. Well, there are many studies done on this in Turkey, and you see them on the screen. I'm not going to mention each and every one of them, but these focus on specific fields. In the last 20 to 30 years, in the light of the vision to have a university in each and every province, we saw an increase in the number of universities. There are differences. There were differences of development between regions and provinces, and to make up for that, universities were established there to be able to raise and grow the human capital. Universities change the economy and the demographic structure, spatial structure, sports and physical activities of the cities where they are established. Well, specifically with respect to the case of Sakarya, industry plays a crucial role, and you feel that contribution even more in smaller scale cities. What is expected of us in meetings like this one is to deliver an academic speech and address, but I'm here to share with you my experience. When I took over the office, I delivered a speech for an interview, and there I said we would like to take the driving power of a university down to single neighborhoods. We would like to ensure that universities add energy to our cities. Well, we have around 65,000 students. It's a gigantic university. We have more than 3,500 academic staff. So in total, it's like a small-scale Anatolian town with a total population of 70,000. Our campuses are small campuses. So these are located in our districts, in the districts of Sakarya. Each and every one of those campuses function as small towns. When students come to campuses, those campuses become very vivid, very lively spaces. But when students leave for vacation or during times of pandemic, when students leave the city, their impact decreases. So as universities, we have to solve this problem in collaboration with local administrations. You can solve this by organizing summer schools, or you can also organize summer trainings in collaboration with municipalities to ensure that students stay in the cities. In smaller and medium-sized cities, change of population is felt even more, where studentification is very important. When you have a high number of students, then cultural activities, the nature of cultural activities change, their numbers increase. As graduates continue to stay in that city, then they add on the labor power, labor force of that city. When I receive visitors from different companies, I realize that they're actually graduates of our university, and that makes me very, very happy. There are also economic impacts and contributions to the local economy of the region. Well, these contributions could be listed as direct contribution, while we employ people, academic staff, non-academic staff. So this is a contribution to employment, and we also make payments when we do the shopping from the shops around. Students do a lot of shopping there. There are also companies that would like to meet the needs of the university. So these contributions are very significant, taking into account the number of students, academic and non-academic staff. This means we make a significant contribution to that city. When we talk about the indirect impact and contribution to the urban economy of a university, I can just mention the symposia or congresses organized. Well, we signed under a very successful project for the energy transformation of the city. We are also preparing the inventory of our cities. We are working with the municipalities and also with the Chamber of Electrical Engineers. There are also other projects done in the social sphere. This is a protocol that we signed with the Chamber of Industry. There are many protocols signed. These protocols should not just stay on paper. We should move on to implementation, execution. So when we sign a protocol, I always ask reports to be produced on the first, third, sixth, and the 12th month to find out about the achievements and failures. There are spatial impacts. Well, urban areas grow, there are changes in the residential areas. So this causes significant structural changes. There are areas dedicated to sports and cultural activities when the urban planning takes place. When students come from other cities, they also contribute to the socio-cultural development of the city. For instance, when I took office, we organized a campaign to plant trees with the contribution and participation of academic, non-academic staff and students. Now, spatial impact. There are many studies conducted on the impact on the space and economy. universities do not contribute to urbanization as a model. Well, this is something, a study that is published, that was released in 2005. But there is another research conducted in Eskişehir, and according to that research, the perception about the city changes when there is a university. There is another study conducted in Sparta. Universities contribute to becoming a contemporary city by 70.1%. This is another study from England with studentification. The ghettos in areas where students live undergo a change when students are there, and the problems are related to different things. Well, we have the rent problem in Turkey. I know that in larger cities, rent is a more important problem. In smaller scale cities, the rent issue is more manageable. But in cities, in metropolitan cities like Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, this is a huge problem. This is a problem that should be solved with the stakeholders of the city. Technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. These are keywords for universities and cities. There are research centers and techno-cities within universities. They can contribute to the capacity of a city. While the collaboration between the industry and the university is left to the initiative to be taken by these institutions. So professors should put aside their egos. They should be in close contact with the representatives of different industries. This would increase the added value universities would provide to a city. I always tell staff to pay visits to NGOs, to private sector companies. Well, and they ask me, how can we visit them? And I say, just greet them, say hello to them, and then the rest will come. This also holds true for the industry. We have to have contacts with companies, with the industrial companies. When I took over office, I paid a visit first to Hyundai. On the 1st, 3rd, 6th, and the 12th month, we get reports about the visits paid and the contacts with industries. Kocaeli is a city of industry. We do have close contact with industrial companies. We take initiatives to have collaboration with them. We sign protocols, but these protocols should not stay on paper. This is my greatest wish. As you see, we have technology transfer offices. We are in close contact with large companies to benefit from what they can offer to us and to contribute to them. What could be the impact on industry through collaboration between university and industry? This would in return be a win-win situation for both universities, society, and also the industry. While in terms of employing staff, it's something very profitable to have contacts with universities. So I always say, you always ask for labs from us, but you can benefit from the laboratories of the companies in Kocaeli. So it would be a contribution to them and to us. Universities should also fulfill one of their main tasks, which is contributing to research. So what kind of a contribution to the society? Well, we can contribute to increasing technological know-how to decrease our dependency on others for technology. We have coordinatorships for research and technology, and there's another coordinatorship for societal collaboration. They are in contact with different groups. So, what about the contribution of universities to the society? It is very relevant to its contact, to the university's contact with industries. Well, there are cities like Denizli, Antep, and in Sakarya, we also have the luxury and chance to be in contact with the industry and the society.
Well, in metropolitan cities, universities might assume functionalities like supporting the intellectual sphere of life within the city. But on the other hand, universities in general have an impact, like they can improve the cultural qualities of life. With the facilities they have, like sports facilities and sports areas and the public spaces they have within their campuses, and the congresses and workshops and seminars that they organize, universities, in general terms, contribute to society. So we have at Kocaeli University this İletişim Radio, communication radio channel, and it's the most popular one within this city with the broadcasts it has and the music it plays. And another contribution of the university might be the exchange programs like Erasmus and Farabi, because these programs attract students into the cities, and it just encourages mobility to and from the city. So we are talking about a great array of things about the relationality between universities and the cities. And we have also been organizing numerous courses on handicraft, like the marble art and paintings and so on. We have this organization which is for a children's university, and in the following days we will be rolling out new projects like universities for the elderly or universities for the disabled. So we deem it very important to be part of these kind of organizations. We try to roll out organizations on art. We invite stakeholders from our city. And together with a number of stakeholders we have, for example, we deem it very important to include women entrepreneurs because that's important for us. And it's our concern to bring in even children, even the toddlers should be part of the university life. So I meet with students, we enjoy our coffee together, and we do not do it within the campus. We come together with our students in cafes in the city, because we really want them to be part of the city. We really want them and their university life to contribute to urban life. So we organize our meetings with students in a different cafe each time, so that those kinds of opportunities would be presented to them. And amongst these kinds of contributions, we need to refer to creating equality and raising qualified human force and training leaders. So these are, of course, contributions which will be improved and intensified in time. Together with citizens, we really want our students within the university to be close to one another. They can come together. This is a study from Australia. Borland and his colleagues have carried out this survey, and they have proven that when it comes to the dissemination of knowledge, university graduates also have great contributions, because these graduates create some cultural and social standards that play a great role in developing social infrastructure. And of course, when it comes to accumulated knowledge and increasing that kind of knowledge and information created within the university, we need to disseminate it to the general public. And we are also talking about building social infrastructure, bringing in different people and bringing these people together, and also developing public policies and enabling participation from the society at large. We are leading a systematic and scientific study around all these concepts, and due to the fact that we are an industrial city, our colleagues have had great achievements in the automotive industry. So thanks to their achievements, our university have been chosen as an expert university in the area of engine and motor technologies in the automotive industry. Our mayor, Talibey, has supported one of our projects, for example. As you know, in the United States, Detroit is an automotive brand, and we are collaborating with them. So we aim at sending out our students to there and build a relation between them and the representatives of the organization. But all in all, that will also contribute to the automotive industry, which is already existent in our city. I have worked as a principal doctor for our university hospital for 8 years, and we have really worked very hard for human health. But in addition to human health, contributing to human education is also of great value. Since I'm a doctor, a physician myself, I really feel it deep down how important it is to be able to do something good for people, for human beings. And as a rector, this is the profile I'm trying to draw for myself. And I'm trying to do this with happy academics and happy people and happy students. And how do we do this? The happiness within the university will be seeping out to people living in the city. Kocaeli Spor is a great and strong brand in our city. We have made a contract with them, an opportunity for collaboration, because there are sports activities and people do come into our city, and we want our students to be part of this mobility as well. And from a cultural perspective, again, the metropolitan municipality of our city have furnished us with different opportunities in the fields of art, like our students will be able to enjoy the drama activities and theaters for free, as our students will be able to benefit from these activities. Our citizens will be able to come together with them as well. We work together with Sakarya University. We have great collaboration with them. So I'm talking like 2 universities and a single city. Since Hamza is here, Professor Hamza is here, I would like to thank him as well. Well, thank you very much. That was a good wrap-up indeed. And we have been informed about Kocaeli, about İzmit. Of course, it's one of the leading industrial cities. We have a campus of TÜBİTAK there as well. So in Kocaeli, we have an extraordinary opportunity for collaboration. And I think it's one of the #1 cities who might lead other cities in Turkey from these respects. Of course, another job of universities is creating an information and a knowledge base for the city in question. And at Kadir Has University, we have this Istanbul Research Center, and many important researches are being carried out within this framework. So let me hand over to my professor with these words. And for the second speech, Professor Sondan Durukanoğlu, Rector, President of Kadir Has University, will take the floor. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm a professor of physics. This is a first time for me as I'm delivering a presentation as I sit, so students can listen to us while being seated. As professors, we are used to talk while standing. As our moderator has kindly said, Kadir Has University is located at a historical building. This building is significant in two respects. It was built during the Ottoman Empire, and it was a tobacco factory. And it's one of the first epitomes of the Ottoman industrialization in the city. And during the last years of the Ottoman Empire, when you talk about the tobacco factory, what we remember at first is women employment. So this building that you see here is actually a nursery built for children of the workers working in the factory. So I'm a professor of physics, so I have looked at my sphere of life as Sondan. So what kind of collaboration might be built between universities and cities? Actually, this relationality and this collaboration is so normal and so natural that actually we are talking about spheres of education and institutions of education raised by these people. So we are already natural stakeholders of this. So what is a university? Let me start with this. Universities have three functions. Research is one of them, which is a must. As people of science, well, we just sit in our rooms and carry out our research. If we really want to contribute to the society we live in, we have to be close with them. When a nuclear power plant is going through a problem in Japan, that affects everything, because everything is interconnected, and we need to acknowledge that kind of overlap between different functionalities of a society and of a city. So that means research is not only an academic concept, it should be one of the most important components of local governments and management. We are talking about rather complex problems, and it is not possible for such complex problems to be resolved through a single perspective and in a single discipline. Education is an indispensable part of all this. We have to train people who are able to carry out research objectively and in a scientific manner. Istanbul Political Research Center is a platform that we have built within our university. That was really very stunning for me as well, because I really appreciate it. So you just go up from the ground floor and you calculate the carbon dioxide levels of Istanbul. And where will you do this? The exhaust gases and other gases are being measured there. Well, the greatest amount of these kinds of CO2 emissions are created by cars during land traffic. So that is very much related to what local municipalities do when they try to build a car parking area. So if they collaborate with academies and universities, they will already know the outcomes of these scientific studies, and they will come up with design which is appropriate for kind of natural solution and a remedy for environmental issues. So this was the educational part, and I have already talked about it. And the third pillar I would like to refer to is the concept of service as provided by universities to societies. So Sakarya University has a number of services, as mentioned in the first presentation. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what kind of services we offer, but we have summer courses and training programs, sister campuses, so which all boil down to kind of function which enables to share and disseminate this accumulated academic knowledge to other members and stakeholders of the societies we live in. This is what we already do, actually. But at Kadir Has University, we have somehow made some changes in our education programs. Like, for example, the first year students are supposed to take social responsibility projects and courses on this subject. So we have a course titled as a social responsibility project. So all our first year students are taking this course because it's compulsory. But of course, there are many other ways of doing this, and every university can roll out such projects and programs. So if you look at the role of universities within the society, there are so many things that they can do. It's only a moment of decision and the actions that we need to take. So we have defined what a university stands for. So what can we say about the cities? Of course, cities are the driving forces for economic development, and it might be criticized whether it's wrong or right, but it's also a center for social and cultural transformation. My parents represent the first generation who migrated from rural areas to cities. And I know it by first hand that the rules of living in a village and in a city are not the same. And we have gone through the hurdles of this and of that kind of transformation. Really, we really witnessed that kind of transformation. So when it comes to cities, we are also talking about centers of artistic, scientific and technological innovations. And why is that? Because cities are the very places where people with special talents and skills are attracted to. So when you have a great number of such people living together, it is inevitable that the cities would turn into such centers. So, and this very last centers, of course, very much represents the one of the most important components and functionalities that universities already have. And no matter what kind of collaboration we seek, as the presidents of universities, we give voice to them, and it's like we are functioning as a kind of family council between the students and the cities. What I always say is that one of the most important indications of development is not urbanization. I am really against this idea. So the world population has reached more than 8 billion years, and half of that population lives in urban cities, in rather crowded areas. Why is it the case that economic development is expected to be triggered and existing in cities only? So for humanity to exist, I mean, we need fresh air. How will we find it? How will we find fresh water resources? Because this kind of condensation in a city area comes up with such problems. So it's not urbanization. I mean, it's not the most important indication of an economic development. By 2050, 70% of the global population is expected to be residing in cities. And what that means, I mean, imagine that this will be in Africa, where population is dense. What that translates into is that we will be turning into a planet full of cities with populations more than 20 million. This is not sustainable. It's not possible. How will you provide the natural water resources and fresh air for these cities? We are in need of fresh air and fresh water resources. And remember how we build cities. We just get rid of the forest areas and we cut down trees. But forests, well, they are the most important assets of this planet. And it's the genesis of our atmospheric sphere that surrounds and shrouds our planet. And it's something we can't do without. The human population is dependent on oxygen. And one day will come when we will not be able to find enough oxygen to live on if we will not stop this kind of development. So it's not only about financial sustainability, but environmental sustainability, which is very much about human lives and human perspective. So the World Economic Forum has come up with a number of anticipations about the 5 challenges for the future of cities, environmental threats. I tend to call this as natural disasters because you are piling up millions of people at a certain location, force them to live together, and when a natural disaster strikes, the casualties are unimaginably large in scale because the economic problems we go through, just because we do this kind of condensed living, are really challenging. And the main reason for climate change is cities. 70% of carbon emissions are triggered in cities. So let's get urbanized. What will happen? Together with carbon emissions, well, I had my PhD in the United States, and I thought that these kinds of hurricanes would taking place in the USA only. But it's not the case. I mean, now we have already started experiencing hurricanes and floods in our geography as well. So that means we have to change our lifestyles as cities, as societies, and as individuals. So we need to move away from these kinds of perspectives that we have been taught, and we have to question them. It's high time to obtain a new perspective.
And there are other problems, the resources. We won't be able to find oxygen. Just think about it. Would you have thought of, selling water ever? I was born at a mountain village, and 30 years ago, you would just find water. Now you can only buy water in villages. They're going to sell water to us in bottles. So if we do not change the definition of an economic asset, then we are going to see more and more problems. Inequality. Inequality is not a word of capitalism or another ism approach. When you have populations gather at a specific place, then there will be huge gaps. There will be people making a lot of money, and there will be people who will be making very few amounts of money. These will be the problems, one of the problems that municipalities will face. Inequality is going to be one of the most serious problems that municipalities will fight against. To make lives easier for people, they make use of technology, so cities become smart cities. But one day, when everything or when all needs are met by technology, we won't be able to adapt, or there will be a minority which will not be able to adapt using that technology. World Economic Forum wrote about this, that governance will be a very serious problem. When you have a population of 20 million in a city, then nothing will be easy to solve. We will need minds dedicated to solving the problems of a city. They have to look at things to find solutions. By looking at things from a different perspective, solutions could be found. Where are those people be educated at universities? So, back to the very beginning. Between universities and cities, what kinds of collaboration should be there? I thought about that until 3 a.m. this morning. I'm a physicist. I'm a researcher in natural science, and I know that everything is based on research. Universities do conduct research. We have very good researchers, but how can we make these researches meet the needs of cities? It's not R&D centers, but local administrations should establish their own R&Ds, and experts here should make a list of the problems of cities. They should not try to find solutions on their own. And then they should go to universities and ask professors to focus on this. Well, if there is no research conducted at the university, the reason for this is the financial means. Let me give you 2 examples. I'm just going to give you these 2 examples to illustrate a picture of how Turkey is too far away from the reality of the EU. The EU dedicated 2 billion euros to understand how the brain works. Well, in Turkey, it's only 2 million. Well, I'll be a professor now. I would like to transfer what I know. Within our brain, there are around 100 billion neurons. Those neurons make us who we are. So, the links are the information highways. So that's where we store data. Well, Barack Obama dedicated $2 billion to understand how it functions. This means hundreds of fresh minds will work day and night to understand and to find an answer to that very basic question. You have to give them money so that they don't think about any other things. That's why the financial means available to local administrations should be so high that would help them find permanent solutions. I'll finish by giving an example. What did we do? We established a techno city, and we did it together with the municipality of Silivri. This is the first of its kind in Turkey. We own 51%, 32% Silivri municipality, and 18 or 17% owned by our foundation. Why? Techno City, Techno Park means universities conduct research, and if there's going to be any trade involved, then this is transferred on to Techno Park. When we do it together with municipalities, you know, innovation comes with what? By observing the needs of people who consume it. When there is a need, then you have to find innovative solutions. We have to look into the problems of local administrations. The development of youth, women, these will be our priorities, and we have to focus on these. But if the instructor, if the professor has a different problem in mind, then we should focus on this as well. I hope that this organic connection, link between the universities and cities could be established, find solutions to the problems we have today. So this marks the end of my words. Thank you. I'm not going to summarize anything, but it appears that we have to have a research ecosystem established, an interface for research to be established between universities and cities. So we have to have more collaboration in the field of research, and we have to gain more know-how and experience. Thank you very much for your words. Resilience and beyond is the theme of MARUF. Well, we had the pandemic, and then the earthquake, then the food crisis. So all of these have become very central issues for cities, and that's why the theme of MARUF was chosen as resilience and beyond. Kocaeli University and Sakarya universities had bitter lessons learned. Umuttepe and Serdivan'da, in Serdivan and in different locations in Sakarya, they had to set up all of their systems from scratch because of the earthquake in 1999. The experience of these two universities are very valuable, especially after the 6th of February. The mayors had presentations yesterday here. So we listened to the presentations of the mayors of Sakarya and Kocaeli. In Sakarya, there's significant amount of agricultural production, and the University of Sakarya is a very large university. It has been divided. Now we have a second university born out of Sakarya University. It has been a very important hub since 1970s. I'd like to now give the floor to the rector of Sakarya University, Hamza. Thank you. There are two universities, said the moderator. Well, when we have speeches delivered, or when we had the protocol speeches delivered, I always say what is even more difficult than listening to one rector in the protocol is to listen to two rectors at the same time. So I believe it's even more difficult for me to speak after two rectors early in the morning. I'd like to touch upon the things that the two speakers before me did not touch upon. Thank you very much for taking the time to come and listen to our speeches. Well, we have the traditional structures at universities. The government has been trying to go beyond these traditional structures with some steps taken in recent years. You know, the logic behind universities is to teach what is to be taught in class. We're trying to overcome and break those rules, break those boundaries. It's not easy. The languages used by industrialists and academicians is not the same. We have made some progress, but there's still room to go. In recent years, the policy adopted was a nice one. Some of the universities are now specialized universities. Yes, the starting point was to have all universities to be involved in universal activities, yet the role of a university is to be, first of all, to contribute to local administrations. Well, smaller universities could contribute more to local administrations. The rector of Kırklareli visited me, and I listened to him for an hour. He has made great contribution to the city by growing bees and by doing other agricultural activities. It was great to listen to him. Maruf is a very nice name. So our job as universities is to disseminate knowledge. Managing, administrating a university and a city, they are more or less the same. They are autonomous bodies. However, they are autonomous as much as the conditions allow us to be autonomous. Cities have to be more important because cities are, yes, built by people, but then cities in return build and construct people. So the way we construct cities is actually the way we think. Sultan Mehmet the Conqueror said, talent is about building a city, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to serving people. Now, as for my university, Sakarya University, it was established back in 1970s, but became a university, became the Sakarya University in 1990s. We had a very long history. I hope that Sakarya University undertakes the function of serving the city more and more. I'm not going to go into theory, but what do we do as Sakarya University? We're aware of the fact that, well, I have to confess that we used to write articles, books, theses, and we used to obtain, we still obtain titles. But while doing these, okay, this is academic activity, but we should do one more thing. We should at the same time solve the problem of a sector. Our thesis should not only serve to make us doctors, but they should also serve to meet the needs of a sector of a city. This is one thing. Another thing is, if we do not focus on one specific goal altogether in the light of a mission, then people run, take fast steps, but they cannot reach at the common goal in a much more efficient way. Well, we have the potential. Our country has some needs, our city has some needs, so we have to match them. In other words, we don't have time to waste. We are quite late to catch up. One of the things we did is research, and this is one of the main activities of a university. When I say research, well, we have a research center. Istanbul University established it back in 1960s, 70s. It was then closed down. We established it again. We're trying to run activities there. Another center, we established another center as well. We have different fora organized to bring together actors. So they let us know their needs, and we focus on those needs through our PhD students or professors to be able to meet the needs of the sector. Well, formal education is very important. The education we get at the primary school level, secondary school level, university level, these are all very important. But education is not confined to the walls, to the boundaries of a university. We have a lot to learn from the other actors. So we have different formula to bring together students and the actors of universities. So in other words, students both attend university and work. So it's not right to think that students first finish their university degree, get a university degree, and then go and work. This is not the right way of doing things. As Sakarya University, when we look at the situation, there are several things that are of priority for us. Research, number one is research. We have a deanship for researchers. Well, you can't find it in legislation, but they contribute the most to our university. They try to make our professors, academicians more competent. They follow publications, academic publications, and they try to make our staff more competent. We also have another heading, contributing to society. We keep uttering the very same sentence. Well, our campus is one of the best campuses because it overlooks the Lake Sapanca. We have to serve the citizens of Sakarya because we're grateful for where we are. We have the Techno City, and our partners are 3 local administrations, the Metropolitan Municipality, the Chambers of Industry and Commerce, and exchange and the stock exchange. They contribute a lot to us. Well, we are grateful to the municipalities. I don't know to what extent this is being done in Istanbul, but Kocaeli and Sakarya were aware of the fact that municipalities function as if they are our extensions. If we don't have the budget to do something, then they help us with budgetary issues. I'm not sure whether we have achieved the governance issue. It's already part of our culture. Well, our culture is based on a system of values which instructs to consult one another. Even our Prophet Muhammad puts emphasis on consulting others. So governance is a universal value. This is a very important issue. We cannot see the whole picture.
So all functions of the brain, it's not simultaneous, so it cannot perceive the impacts coming from external sources at the same time. So we have to accept this larger framework. The actors in the city should be aware of it as well. So it's wrong to degrade theoretical knowledge, but practical knowledge is equally valuable. Sometimes, unfortunately, the two concepts are presented as in contradiction with one another. Theory and practice do not contradict one another. They are complementing one another. So, from that perspective, municipalities and cities are very much in need of one another's experience and best practice examples and information and knowledge. So that means cities are in need of our academic knowledge as well, and we have to do this. Another thing we do is, as I have just said, Sakarya University is more national. It has this dimension which is very much backed up by our strong academic structure. But on the other hand, we need to be international. So we have students from many different countries, but then the number should be more. We need to have international academicians. So we are not calling them foreign, but international now. and they need to be followed up. And more importantly, we don't forget about them once they graduate. We monitor them, like what they're doing, what careers they are taking up. Some companies and some organizations, although there are a number of problems, benefit from those students. So that kind of relationality and ties between students and companies are being built when they are still students. So a company has compared a number of products and brands and prices, and they did a study with students. So that means these students have already started learning about the real market. So as far as the Middle East is concerned, this country has a backdrop to it, and we have a past. So contributing to those countries, and we want to be working together with them. So as Sakarya University, we had established this Middle Eastern Institute just to make these real. And within that institute, last year we established an African sub-department, and we are providing services about that as well. So from that perspective, Sakarya University is a universal one, and we are producing universal knowledge. And as we contribute to people, we have to contribute to our own country, to our own people, and to the city itself. It might sound rather simplistic, but we are inviting city actors to the campus, and they come together with students in informal environments. So this kind of learning assumes and is realized in two shapes. So our students benefit from this, and the businessmen, the actors that we invite to the university, also benefit from academic knowledge. So that is a kind of acting as a bridge. And again, another thing we do is that we need to be accountable for the cities. Autonomy for universities is perceived as somehow informality, but it's not that. We have to be accountable. We have to be accountable for scientific freedom and freedom of speech and so on. But this is only through taxes that we can be active. So we need to be accountable. So we are preparing, we are going through preparations. Unfortunately, at Sakarya City Council and at Satso Council, we will be accountable, and we will be reporting like we have been producing this for years, and these are the things that we have done, and these are the things that we couldn't do. So if you like, I don't want to take too much of your time, but we can have a Q&A session later on. And another thing is that we want our students to be more competent and more entrepreneurial in spirit. We have organized this final project because we wanted them to get familiar with the concept of a project. What is a project? It's not a magic word. So they need to be able to work on a problem, detect a problem in the first hand, and be able to work on that problem with a set of skills on which we have started working this year. TÜBİTAK has also a study in that and a list. So this year we have moved up our university's position in that list up to number 6. So the greatest hurdle and bottleneck and gap in our society is the lack of entrepreneurs. So if you would be asking ourselves what kind of a contribution we can make for our society is this very entrepreneurial spirit. The engineers that we train and educate should be entrepreneurs. The physicians and doctors who are our graduates should be entrepreneurs. They need to be able to discover an innovation. We need to have self-esteem and self-confidence. So for these to be realized, we deliver project courses to all our students. And another step we have taken in that line is that we deliver sectoral courses. The formal education is very important. The education delivered by academicians is equally important. But this is not, it is all about the information from the industry is also important. We deem great importance in that area. And what we kindly ask from our professors is that, I mean, you can deliver lectures yourselves for 10 weeks. I mean, in a semester we have 14 weeks, as you know, and the remaining 4 weeks should be given to speakers coming from outside so that they could tell something to students. So I attended to my courses, and I have invited a representative of an industry and asked them to deliver speeches. So that was a great contribution, because in this way our students can find an opportunity to to build close relations with the industry. And another thing I would like to say, last remark, if you permit me, is that it seems to me that we don't position cities as importantly as they should be. We need to be more active and proactive. And the autonomy of a university, as I have just said, should not be perceived as informality. We need to have a set of principles and a certain area. So without going beyond those principles and borders and the legal framework we have on hand, the universities should make best use of the competences and skills and authorities they are given, and they should contribute to different spheres of life, starting from health, industry, agriculture, and arts, and so on. So the city authorities and city governments should have a say in the city councils next to the academicians. And hopefully this will not be voluntary only, but legally as well, legally binding as well. Thank you. Well, thank you for your presentation. Of course, the city actors and universities have close ties, and we have talked about a great number of dimensions about these issues. Municipalities and other institutions on the one hand, and the markets themselves, and also the research institutions and academicians. The potential collaboration between these stakeholders is in need of further support, of course. We need to open up space for these stakeholders. This is what we have also heard from our president's speeches, from an academic perspective. As far as servicing the societies we live in is concerned, and also from what I have seen and read up to this time, I can assume that as far as social service is concerned, or serving for our societies is concerned, at Wisconsin University we had a great motto, which goes like the Wisconsin idea. So the borders of the university is defined by the borders of the state in question. So it's not only the campus. We're talking about the university reaching out to the city area at large. So this is a very nice idea. Of course, we have branches reaching out to different areas. The access to information and knowledge within the university. So the ecosystem that you live in is bordered by these concepts. It's a big concept and a big, large framework. And it requires an equal amount of work and effort. So we have done a lot. So we need to listen to best practices and stories. So after us, we will have the closing session here. And I would like to have a Q&A session for like 10 minutes. Let me turn to the hall. I will have a number of questions and then we can close the session. Yes, please. Please open your mic. Well, Professor Alim, thank you for giving me the word. I would like to thank the three presidents we have here, because these have been very enlightening indeed. My question is for Zafer Hoca and Hoca. I got my bachelor's degree and MA degree at Kocaeli University, so I am a bit more knowledgeable about it. As has been said, we have this campus in Kocaeli University, which is somehow removed away from the city itself, and it has a peculiar, it has its own structure. But there are some political aspects as well. So universities have started to build campus buildings in other neighborhoods as well. So what my question is, when it comes to production of knowledge, if an opportunity would be given to you and you would be able to build a university from scratch, what kind of a campus design you would come up with in your mind? What would your idea be? Let's have a number of other questions as well and then answer them collectively. Well, hello. My name is Gözde Atalay. I'm a researcher and I write my doctoral thesis. Please warn me if it's too long, but please ask your question briefly. Well, I have come up with a number of obstacles while carrying out my survey, and I was going to ask these suggestions of my professors. This was about a policy about the accessibility of public spaces in cities. This has been realized, but as it was put into practice, I found it rather difficult to reach out to the actors I was going to ask my questions. And things and messages were transmitted wrongly. And secondly, people were not interested in this scientific study. And thirdly, due to financial resources and their lack of it, I had to spend my money from my own pocket. So as we produce knowledge, so that this will not be on paper only, and so that we would be able to share this with students. I have seen that there was a culture of fear. But in Istanbul, I asked my questions to children because I wanted to do the same work with younger children. And also, many of my colleagues told me that, well, just write it away and forget about it. So that created a kind of fragility in me. So when it comes to collaboration, what else I could have done? Well, thank you. That was a good question as well. Any other questions from the floor? I think not. There are no other questions. Let me take the word as well, and I'm going to ask another question. So our presidents are working very busily. Of course, 7 days in a week would possibly not enough for what you want to do. So we have technoparks. This is my question. And there is a specialization tendency in these technoparks during the last 5 to 6 years. So when it comes to city actors and local problems in areas where we talk about local problems, could we do something about specialization? Would it be an opportunity for reaching out to different areas? Perhaps you don't have a definite answer, but let's start with Professor No, and then we can just have... Are you talking about a campus university? So, both have advantages and disadvantages. But in countries like Turkey, politicians, when they build campus buildings, they become part of the planning. So they just enable opening up campuses in different locations. Bolu and Düzce, as you know, are close to one another. And in Düzce, when people were discussing whether a faculty of medicine should be opened or not, a politician said, I will commit suicide if you do that. So there are mechanisms that it's sometimes hard to control. Different campuses are being built in different parts of the city. So as I was taking up my position as the president of Kocaeli University, as far as the high schools for occupations, for professional high schools, there were a number of other hurdles, but then I have seen that they were not like that. Do we have sufficient number of academic studies at these high schools? Of course, the greatest challenge is to raise blue-collar people. At Sakarya University, the professional high schools have been transmitted to Cebu. That was a kind of reflex that we came up with. And at our university, what we did was to turn our universities into thematic clusters. This is how we try to resolve it. But in different parts of the city, well, as you know, Kocaeli is a small city, geographically speaking. When it comes to reaching out to society and teaching them, Fort Otosan, we collaborate with Ford and they create an advantage there. So they just support the Gölcük municipality. So small groups of people in different parts of the world. "15 days ago, I've sent my daughter to London. So the university my daughter attends to has 2 or 3 campuses. So this is the same all around the world. And another issue is, together with municipalities and other institutions, we're collaborating with these So the general principle is that with an academic degree, you can just have your say in a stronger manner. So therefore, I think that kind of struggle is very important. As far as the technoparks are concerned, our municipality has a close collaboration. But other than this, of course, I mean, from a private perspective, it allows opportunities for entrepreneurs. For example, at Kocaeli, we have KOSGEB and Marmara Development Agency within the Sakarya region. So they just accommodate there for rent. They pay a rent. So my suggestion to Marmara Development Agency was that we could allocate some space to KOSGEB and what kind of a project we can have for that, what kind of resources we could find. And next to our technopark, 2 of the 4 buildings planned for our campus could be allocated for an IT faculty. So that would be a proper platform. So many of the companies work in the area of coding and IT technologies. So we can just strengthen the relation between the 2 parties. Thank you.
Evet, ilk soru.
Now, an answer to the first question. Well, I would establish a city. I worked as a manager in 2 universities. One, Sabancı University, quite a faraway campus in Tuzla, but it had its own advantages. No, university has should have organic links with the city, so when you are in the Golden Horn, it's much better. Well, this is my personal idea, and it could be my emotional approach as well. Quantum physics say, well, if you hit the wall 1 billion times, then you would be able to go to the other side of the wall. So systems have to interact. You initiated interaction, and you have to continue that interaction. Municipalities, all of the layers of the society, as a result of interaction, they will find what is necessary, and they will also enjoy that change. This is what physics say. Well, as Kadir Has University, well, we established that Technokent, but the other idea you mentioned is a very good idea. You should find the people who are in charge of that, and you can also seek the EU funds. Believe me, there are very, very good ideas. It's only the financial problem that is hindering such innovative ideas. If there are innovative ideas to solve the problems of the cities, then you can make use of the EU funds. When a local administration suffers problems of finance, then the expenses to be made on such innovative ideas is considered as a luxury. All of the entrepreneurs in techno cities should conduct research, and you should apply to international funds for funding purposes. Could you please answer all 3 questions? Well, I was actually talking about mental obstacles. We must have a campus, but there are some mental obstacles. Various tools have been developed, like the incentives provided by TÜBİTAK or by other projects. As it is the case in many areas, we have come a long way in education. We have made significant progress, but we are just at the beginning. I think for a university to be assessed well, we need a history of 200 to 250 years. We shouldn't be too pessimistic. While universities are heading in the right direction, they're doing good work, but this is the outcome of a momentum gained in the last 5 to 10 years. There are 2 examples of this in Sakarya. We are a campus university, that's number 1. So we have the applied sciences. Applied sciences covers the whole city. It's going to be a very good lab. Hopefully, if we long enough, we will test the positive and the negative sides of this. Yet, universities should never forget their main purpose. Sakarya University transformed the city of Sakarya. In terms of urbanization, if Sakarya has made some progress, if the demographics and the social background has changed, then this is thanks to the university. Let's make sure that we contribute to the industry. Yes, there are some contributions thanks to students, but we get services from the sector, from hotels, from restaurants. This is great. Yes, they rent houses, but it's very important to contribute to the municipalities. Our time is up, but the University of Sakarya, in terms of earthquake and earthquake engineering, is one of the best universities. When we had the earthquake, at times when it was most difficult to survive, to live, our professors gave support to people. Sakarya University contributed a lot to the city in the 1999 earthquake. While challenges also create new opportunities. Those bad experiences offered us new opportunities. For example, in terms of remote education, now we have a very sound infrastructure in place. In terms of cybersecurity, we are one of the best universities. The Higher Education Council has identified Kocaeli University as one of the pioneering universities in terms of engines. This is very important. This is one of the most important issues for Turkey. We're trying to convince industrialists. They're making money. Yes, we tell them you're making good money, you're doing good business, yet you need innovation, you need academicians, you need research. And we have to convince them. We have to start to speak the same language. We have to be on the same page. We have to have contact. We are just beginning. We are on the right path. The direction is the right direction. The universities are heading towards the right direction. We are competing one another. We are trying to be ahead of one another. And the universities will, a bright future is awaiting universities. Thank you very much. This is they are waiting for us to close the session so that the closing session should start. I'd like to thank all of the hidden heroes of this organization. I'd like to thank our rectors for being with us in this session. Thank you very much for this very fruitful session. We have two hidden heroes, and I'd like to thank them. One of them is the simultaneous interpreter. She has been helping us with great sacrifice. And we have also a sign interpreter here. They have made unbelievable they have been giving unbelievable efforts for the past 3 days. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us in such an early hour. See you in the closing.